How to cook duxelle. Hello everybody, my name is James Howe and this is Chef at Home, and welcome back to my How to Cook Masterclass. We're continuing on with this portion of the course with all the wacky and wild sauces and garnishes that don't quite fit into earlier chapters. So let's crack on. So in today's lesson we're going to make a duxelle. Now duxelle comes from a family of techniques called a force meat. Now that is quite a misleading name. It doesn't necessarily have any meat in it. The word actually comes from a mistranslation of the French term, which has completely escaped my mind, but I'll try and remember by the end of the video. But basically it means stuffing. It means techniques like pureed and mincing can be used as part of a stuffing, which could be stuffed into birds. Stuffing similar to, as you might know it from a box of Paxo, but it also plays into pâtés, parfaits, that kind of thing. It's a really weird thing that the term has stuck with us and doesn't actually mean what it sounds like it should. But if you hear force meat, or if I say force meat, stuff it. Now this duxelle is a fantastic example of the force meat because it uses two of those techniques I mentioned. So the first thing, just whip off this peel of an onion and a couple of cloves of garlic as well. Now we're just going to really finely dice to begin with. And same with the garlic, just dice that up. And that can just shoot into this bowl. Now I've got some washed mushrooms. Again, we're just dicing those up and in you go into the bowl. Now we've got that diced up, we're now going to turn this into the duxelle. And unless you're very patient with a knife, you're going to need something like this. You're going to need a food processor, some kind of blender. If you've got to do it in stages, absolutely fine, doesn't have to all go in at once. Into your blender. No added liquid, so it's not going to puree, we're just going to mince it up once I've turned it on. Then when it's done, all that batch anyway, into a clean bowl. Lather, rinse, repeat. Now if like me you have done it in batches, just give it a good mix up once it's all in the bowl, just to make sure everything's evenly constituted around. Constituted, that was a big word. Mixed, just go with mixed. So you'll end up with this really wet textured minced vegetables. Now that's the basis of a duxelle. Now if this is going into a sauce, into a stuffing for say a roast dinner for example, this would be absolutely perfect. However, if it's going to be encased in something there's a risk of going soggy, like pastry, you'd need to extract that moisture from that. So I'll show you with half of this, so you can see the difference in the textures. I'm going to get a pan on to warm. Just a shallow frying pan will do the trick. Something with a large surface area to make your life a lot easier. Just get that warming through. And I'll put half this in here. So you don't need any oil or anything like that, just a dried pan. Just spread it out so it covers as much of the base of the pan as you can. Again, it just speeds up the process, makes your life easier. So this should only take a few minutes. And what we're actually doing here is evaporating the water from the duxelle. Now it's just water that are naturally trapped in the vegetables. What you'll start to see is little air pockets pop in, little pools of water forming in different places in the pan. And the veg themselves will start to shrink as part of a natural cooking process. With that water not being inside them anymore, they've got a lot more space to contract. Probably the most famous use of this type of duxelle is in a beef Wellington. And this is the step that a lot of chefs miss. You see the posts on Instagram and stuff and they forget to take the water out of the mushrooms. Or maybe they just don't know to. You can always tell because when you cut into the Wellington, underneath there's a layer of just stodgy pastry. If you pull this to one side and you tilt your pan, you'll be able to see the water just running out at one side. So we're waiting for all that water to evaporate. So let's grab out a plate then and have a look at the difference between the two. So this, much wetter, much looser duxelle, is the first that we just minced. And then this one, much drier, much firmer, darker as well. This is the duxelle that we've extracted the liquid from. Both correct, both for different purposes. So that has been an introduction into force meats and specifically these duxelle. These will come in handy again coming down the course If you've been following since the beginning, you know the drill. We've got practice dishes coming up where we're putting some of these techniques into play, and you can see how they come together in a dish. But for now, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.